Good morning, citizens, and welcome back to the channel. Hope everybody's having a good day. Today we're just gonna be chilling out, maybe do a little bit of farming for some gear. I don't know, maybe a little bit of gem mining, just hanging out, relaxing, enjoying a nice Sunday morning cup of coffee, my fellow citizens. So if you are interested in Star Citizen, you check the link in the description below for Citizens United Front. That is our org. We have quite a few members and everybody is very helpful. So if you're looking to get into the game and you don't know what you're doing, or you have questions, there are plenty of people here always to help. Also below that link to the org, you're going to find a link to our Discord. That is what we use for communications and comms. That way you can hook up with people, maybe do some missions, get some blueprints, learn the basics. No question is stupid. Just ask it. There are always people there to help. And then below that, you're going to find my referral code. So if you'd like to get yourself some extra cash, so you can buy some gear, maybe some heals, a weapon, ammo, just put that in when you start up the game, and that will help you out on your journey through the verse. So, all right, guys, let's get into it, and let's have some fun. Some chill, relaxing fun. So I just made a video on the Flipper here, and this is quickly becoming one of my favorite ships because of its multi-role. Not only does it have a bed for bed logging, but it also has, a medical bay so you can revive yourself, heal yourself, and regenerate or respawn upon death. It also does have a crafting bench so you can craft on the ship. It's got about 12 SCU of cargo that it can hold, so you can do cargo missions too. I mean, it literally is a generalist ship, like they call it. I would highly recommend it that, after you get your starter ship and you start saving your money, that this would be one of the first ships that you would buy. It's just the right size, and the ability to get into multiple game loops is definitely where this ship has its strengths. So it's got a good armament on it. It is pretty missile heavy. It's got 4 hardpoint weapons. You can see 2 right there, and then we have them also on the wings. And let's get up in this bad boy and we'll go have some fun. So there is 2 ways into the ship here. You have the elevator, and then you also have the ramp right there. So this would be where your crafting area is. This would be your medical bay, so you can set your respawn point right there. That's a little hatch so you can get down to your cargo area. Now we were currently at Port Tressler, just above the planet of Microtech. Microtech has lots of good stuff for farming. As far as if you want to do some quick gem mining, things like that. But today we're going to go to a favorite location of mine. you just grab some loot, and it usually refreshes every 45 minutes or an hour, so we're going to go to Ghost Hollow. So you just type in Ghost, and it's the only one that's going to come up, and then you route to it. And this is a pretty low risk as far as the amount of NPCs and the amount of resistance you'll find there. So it's a really good starting location if you want to get yourself some guns and maybe upgrade your ammo or your armor. And get yourself started off in the verse. That way you don't have to spend all your money on weapons and things like that. So if you start out with your basic armor, you don't have any resistance here to NPCs constantly attacking you, because some of the facilities do get pretty heavy, especially ASD facilities and things like that. You'd slowly learn the terms, what PAF centers are, and ASDs, and they progress higher and higher in their difficulty, so. So this is going to be pretty hidden. It's not super obvious to where it is, but it will bring you into the area, and you'll find a few small clearings of trees. That way you can safely land your vehicle and go into the facility. You might find other players here, but generally everyone comes here just to grab some loot and do some things. So it's all dependent upon if you're going to find any kind of PvP here, but the likelihood is pretty low, because people are looking to do the same thing, so. Hope everybody's having a good day. I sure am. So you'll see with this facility, it's actually a crashed derelict ship that you can run around to procure yourself some gear. Find a nice little landing spot. I think that looks appropriate right over here. What? What was that? As always, Star Citizen is doing Star Citizen things.
Engines offline. Your systems are offline.
Kind of come to expect some things to happen in the game. You know, I mean, I mean, it's kind of a known thing that, you know, you might encounter some weird stuff going on, but it's okay. You know, it's not the end of the world. It's a video game. Enjoy it. Okay. Atmosphere is safe. So you can see the non-frozen side of Microtech is it's very pretty. You get a chance to chill out, walk around. See if we can find some gear here. There are NPCs here, but they're not terribly difficult to take out. Just trying to see if there's anybody around here that's going to pose a threat. It is a pretty large facility, so it'll probably, depending upon the speed that you move, anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes to sweep the area, you know, collect everything that you want, and then head out. You know, if you're new to the game, this is a very good area to start off in. don't know, chat. There's normally a ladder. Oh, there is a ladder, but it's just not visible. Didn't give a prompt. I haven't found a single crate yet. Go this way. There's usually a dozen or so crates in the area, so... And the loot that they do spawn is, continuously changing. It's all randomized, so... Purple crate. See, that was another player right there. I heard him come up behind me. Quartz SMG. Yeah, we'll take that. Primarily, we are looking for the purple crates. That's gonna have the more rare loot and things. Why is my character not driving on anything? This ladder seems to be glitched. That's unfortunate. Does not appear that too much is randomized here. Normally this is a pretty good spot. You can pick up some good stuff, but we'll check this last building. If not, we'll just move on. I have not been back to here since 4.8 launch, so they may have reduced a lot of the stuff. No, I was already in here. So yeah, they may have just said, no, we're gonna nerf a lot of the free stuff. Okay, I fell over and I don't know why. Nice rare helmet. Arclight Herrera pistol. A Mirage pyro tool. Cool, we did get a cool helmet. Let's check the rest of these outdoor facilities and then we'll move on to a little bit of hand mining. Don't think we've been to this building all the way over here. Let's go check that out. Anybody want a pickle? See if there's anything else at this one. There's a path. Looking for maybe a small hatch or something to drop down inside. You know, like up in that area. That's pretty cool. We got one really cool helmet. There's a heavy helmet too. Looks like. Oh yeah. Cool. For sure. Did get a gun and some ammo too. This is a very popular spot for, you know, low stress looting, so, you know, a lot of people do come here. As you saw. something to drink. If you're not familiar with the game, Cruise Lux does not only nutrition but also hydration. So, if you ever see the Cruise Lux, buy it. Store that in our backpack. Don't want to make some trash in our own ship.
Hello and welcome aboard your dream interplanetary craft. Your systems are online. Shield system offline. Shield system online.
Here's my scanning isn't working, so usually you can just solve that by getting up out of your chair and re-entering the pilot seat. Most difficulties that you find in the game do have a workaround. I like this game for so many different reasons. It's so chill. It's so, you can make it be high stress and, high energy, or you can just kind of cruise around, relax, soak in the views, farm stuff, not farm stuff. It's for sure my go-to game. And to be honest, I'm quite glad it gets the most views, you know, because nothing is worse. Yeah, we've all seen content creators that, they just, you can tell they're not enjoying what they're playing whatsoever. They're just doing it because it's getting them the views. How many content creators do you see that shit on Call of Duty? And then the new one comes out, and they're all on it. Like, oh my god, the best Call of Duty ever. Like, come on, give me a fucking break, dude. 2 weeks ago you were fucking shitting on the last one, and then 2 weeks after this one comes out, you'll be shitting on this one. It's just the game has a very wide audience because it's it's not a very complicated, complex game. Marok, Marok. What was those buffalo things? Baradon.
Landing complete. Engines offline.
These are going to be far too large to mine. If I had an Atlas Geo, I could. Medical device. Tractor beam, embryo light, and mine. Yeah, these are going to be too large to mine. I'm going to need an Atlas Geo for that. That's why I like my RSI Hermes. As far as the ship goes, it's great for doing, mission-based stuff, or I could possibly die and, respawn. But if I'm doing actual mining, I'll take out the Hermes so that I can fit the Atlas Geo in there, and crack larger size rocks, and more intense mining instead of just small gem mining. Let's see if we can find some gem size quality stuff that way we can.
Engines online. Landing gear up.
This area's pretty rich in deposits. A prospector would do quite well here. I'm not familiar enough with the game to see what the signatures are. Lots of wildlife out here, though. I did a few of the Wicklow missions, which are specialized missions that, you turn in what he wants, and it gives you some, upgraded equipment and things like that. But, since the 4.8 wipe, I obviously lost all the items that I got from Wicklow because they did a complete wipe. So I'm not going to really engage with that content until it's verified that there isn't going to be any more wipes, which is a shame. I mean, for everybody that really grinded out the Wicklow stuff to just have it yanked from your inventory. I mean, I feel like that should have been one of the things that was kept just like blueprints were. Part of the woods and some vegetation. That's that aphorite over there. Oh, and that's gem size too.
Landing gear down. Landing complete. Engines offline.
Yeah, we can get some aphorite. I do have to pick up a new fabricator, though. for home base. Nope, nope, nope. We don't want that. We don't want that. That's what we wanted. Thank you. Looks like we don't have much daylight left. Oh no, we got a couple in-game hours, quote unquote. Oh, that wasn't what I wanted. Hopefully we can get some good quality out of this sapphirite. I've already done hand mining, so you know, if you want to check out the video, it's on the channel already. You're basically just trying to keep the left bar in the green, and the right bar is the powder that you apply to the mineral. And once that little circle on the bottom of the left-hand side fills up, that is a factoring success. Then you just scoop it all up. Obviously, you don't have as much carrying capacity as you would if you were to, you know, bring a crate or something. Let's see what our quality is. Okay, that one's pretty good. That one's trash. I tend to keep anything over like anything over like 650 to like 900, and then everything 900 and above. If I do come across it, next time I hook up with the org mates and they're online, I'll just pass it off to them. Okay, so it looks like we have a little bit of decent quality here. Let's keep going. Ooh. So you just use left alt and scroll wheel to raise the power of your mining tool, and then lower it accordingly. Make sure you stay within the stability zone. I do have a tendency to pick it all up, though, just because, if I happen to go to a place where I can sell it, even if it only gets me, 120 credits, it's still 120 credits. this is an MMO. It does take a while to prove money and resources and weapons and things like that. Especially since I don't glitch in any way. There's no moving anything. I play this game straight up, and honestly. Come on, let the crack. Let's go. Give me one sec, guys. I'll be right back. Puppy wants to go outside. Let's check out our qualities here. No, that 686 was still the best we got. Got a lot of low quality stuff. 500 would be considered your baseline on all your mining materials and things like that. So, when you use them to craft weapons or armor, they're not going to give you any extra perks like faster reload time or lower recoil. Or it's all dependent upon the quality of the material that you're using with whatever you're crafting. Now you'll notice I'm waiting because as it's pointed at the rock, it's scanning it, and when you look at the back of the tool, it'll eventually complete its scanning. Then you can fire it up and make big rocks into little rocks. Now, I don't have all the blueprints, so for me to mine, it's not a necessity right now. This is just more for casual, chilling out, hanging out. Some people, will get all the blueprints and all the things. I just dip my toes into all different types of gameplay. That way I can keep it fresh. It doesn't get stale. I don't do too much cargo. I don't do too much mining. I don't do, too much FPS or ship to ship combat or just do something here real quick. Okay. Again, guys, if you could in the comments below, I'm trying a couple different settings on voice to see which ones sound the best. So, let me know how this sounds to you as opposed to previous videos. So this is a new setting today on this. I'm trying to get everything nice and clean sounding. Not make the voice sound too deep, but also not too hollow. Some more 500s. That's a 348. So only one set of over 650. What are you guys' impressions of 4.8? I feel like it introduced a lot of bugs. And to be quite honest with you, I think it's time for CIG to do a round of stop adding things into the game for a patch cycle or two and start working on some of some of the things that are not working as intended in the game. We really didn't need refueling missions. Refueling is not going to be, I mean, it might be, let me rephrase that. There aren't going to be many people that are like, oh yeah, I just want to fly around the verse and refuel people. So the development time and everything that it took to, create the ship and make the models and put the code in and all that thing, you know, it's just time that could have been spent elsewhere. And we know they can fix bugs, because there can be a money glitch where you do the salvage missions, and you would find C2s that you didn't even salvage. You just took a cargo ship out there and took the cargo out of it and made more out of that. A couple 100,000 credits, as opposed to making, 20, 30, 40, 60,000 on a mission. They had that patched, like, how quick? It's just like, okay, guys, we get it. We know that, you want to patch exploits in the game. But, you need to be focusing on, on certain things, that just aren't functioning properly. Like when I first landed at Ghost Hollow, and my ship just went crazy. Like, fix that. There's something there that needs to have an adjustment, whether it be the terrain or whatever physics is going on, in that field. Is there, an unseen object that was, doing that? Because as we get closer to Squadron 42 here, if Squadron 42 launches with any bugs, it's going to be a rough time for CIG. To have a single player experience that isn't going to need the constant server discussion back and forth between, the PC and the inventory system and, their shards, it's going to have to be pretty much a flawless launch. I mean, there can be a little bit of stuff that's wrong, but not much. See, like this right here. Why can't I pick those up? Is that because the server just doesn't know that they're fractured on the ground yet? Is it, is it client side? Is it server side? Like, what's going on, Like, yeah, carry, like, pick it up. Okay, now store. So are you telling me now I gotta pick up every single piece? Or see, like that, I just hit button 5, but it brought out my large tractor beam. Now 5 is my small mining tool. Things like this, they need to be cleaned up. So, if you guys could give a like to the video, or even if you're a content creator yourself, it's time for us to start telling CIG, things to, prioritize. And I understand that, they want to sell ships, they want to make money, they want to expand the game, they want to make it bigger. They have, the biggest ambition that I've ever seen in a game. But at some point you have to, you have to keep your house in order and make sure that everything is, working as intended. Because I don't want to do this. I don't want to sit and pick up all of these gemstones. It'd be nice just to suck them up with the mining tool as intended. Sorry guys, I'm letting in the dog. He was done out there. Okay. Something like this, like I shouldn't have to do this. See, now I hit 5 again, and what does it do? It does the same thing. That is not... I mean, simple things like that are... Yeah, see, it's just not going to... it's just not going to pick them up anymore. So you know what that does for me in the game loop? That makes me say, okay, I'm done doing that. So what do we get? We got a couple 5s and 4s. Drop that. I don't want 348. Drop that. See now, right there, it wouldn't allow me to drag and drop to drop item. That one did, but the previous one didn't. I had to right-click the mouse and then actually go on drop item. See, and now it just borked back up on my inventory when I was strictly right here. So I'll keep those 5s. Because we can sell those along with the 348s, and we'll just keep the 1686 and we'll put that into our inventory. Let's go back on the ship. We'll head back to New Babbage. You know, it's all these little things that add up that, you know, and also now that, now that crafting is in the game, this ship has a built-in crafting, but it's not operational. You know, that needs to be prioritized before 4.9 comes out. So, I think we're in 4.0 right now, and then we'll have 4.1 and 4.8.2. So by the time 4.8 is done, this should be fully operational along with any other ship that also has a crafting table in it. You can't just move on to new tech without actually solving, situations that, are currently in the game that need to be looked at. And again, I love the game and it's great, and I'll do the workarounds, but at some point, new players aren't going to understand the workarounds. You're people that have been playing the game for a couple of months and things like that, we know how to work around a lot of this stuff. New players are going to be like, well, am I not doing it right? What am I doing? And then that causes frustration because, CIG itself isn't very explanative with what, you need to do, or is this a bug, or is this an intended, feature? Am I doing it wrong, or and if you don't know that, you're less likely to engage with the content, as opposed to, cleaning up all the frills and the rough edges and loose threads. That way you can, have the, the stability of the game there, and it's working as intended. So people can just go out and choose their life skill and complete the task and do what they have to do. I'm not a programmer by any means. Do I think that's an easy task, but you don't go throwing a turkey in the oven when, the last one that you made still isn't fully cooked. Because then you're just going to get everybody sick. Where is the Babbage? There we are. chasing the daylight.
Here we are. One space as promised.
See, even that right there was a glitch with a double voice. Things like this need to be cleaned up. Because if once Squadron 42 hits, there's going to be a lot of eyeballs on this game. There's plenty of content in here. No one in this game is screaming for more content. There's plenty of missions to do. There's plenty of things to do to rebuild your capital and, go out in the verse and have fun and, do whatever you want to do. Whether you want to go out and clear missions and grab loot or do some mining or some cargo hauling or, whatever it may be.
Landing complete. Engines offline.
So I guess we'll go transfer some of our stuff over to our inventory and then head over to a TDD, which is the trade and development, and sell off those lower quality gems just to make a little bit of money. I do need a size 2 scope for this weapon. I sure wish I could have found one at Ghost Hollow, but that's for the Quartz energy rifles, ammo, some more P4 AR ammo, more kill shot ammo. I'll put these drinks over here. I got one water, one cruise. This one's empty, right? No, that was the full one. And now see things like this too. These are things that need to be cleaned up in the inventory system. Why is it not changing 100%, 100%, and 100%. Now, how is that all 100% when I drank one before? If these are all the ones that I have on me, right? And I stored the last cruise lux, one of these should be at 0, but it's not. Lifeguard medical attachment, put that over there. This was that. That was the Mirage one. Specialty one. Quartz Energy SMG. Rangefinder. I found that last night. Embryo Light SRT tool. Split those. And I'll put another one of those over there. So, Orbit Mining. I have the mining one. That's the Cambria Light, and that's the True Hold. It's a refill. See, there's another cruise. See, it's not going back. So is that the empty one? We don't know, because it won't give us the info. Don't need the P4AR. We're using the Parallax currently. Remaining 100%. Remaining 100%. Remaining 100%. See, it's things like that, you know? Stack all. And we'll stack all over here too. That way we can get rid of any type of duplicates. Okay, so we can sell those, and we'll keep these. So let's move these over. Yeah. Okay. I mean, it's nothing game breaking, but they need to be taken care of now. These situations have been here for long enough. And is there workarounds? Yes. Do you have to click off of something, then back onto something, then off of something? But you shouldn't have to, you know? And I understand that, they just implemented the new inventory system and last patch and this patch, so, they're working on the elevators and the things like that. And those are core systems, and those things are very important. So I do applaud them for, working on things like that. But, a good sweep of, 20 minor bugs would make the quality of life in this game easier, than developing a new ship that strictly does refueling. So CIG, along with the other 3 people that are going to watch this, take note, Please start working on some of these smaller bugs and just knock them out and get them out of the way. Because as you keep iterizing, on the different versions that come out, you're just stacking things, difficulties on top of difficulties until the point that it just becomes unbearable. That way you can get a solid version with all those bugs fixed, and then anything you build on top of that, you know that your new baseline for programming has been set. You don't have to think about those things anymore.
capsule will be leaving the station momentarily.
You know, another reason for fixing it, like I was talking about before with new players, some people don't have the patience, like I have, or longtime players of this game. I mean, once you do take the time to learn the game and the keybinds and play the game and do some of the workarounds, you do really see the beauty in the game. I mean, it's unlike any other game out there for sure. So, where is the TDD? There it is.
Hi, and welcome to New Baggage.
Hey, that's really great.
Okay, that's on Mega Pro, so the TDD would be this way, I believe. Yeah. Don't be fooled, this is not where you turn it in. This is courier services. This is where you would do other commodity type things. You're really looking for the TDD, you want this right here, Trade and Development Division. I did mention that in my last video. I know some people are asking questions. I see it a lot. Where do I sell my stuff? What do I, So, if you go into this is where. So I'll select myself, and we have 348, 48 units. Sell it all. Right. And sell this. 7 units of that. That's the little one. Again, it's not much money, but it is money, It's enough to buy yourself, quite a bit of ammo and things like that. There we go. So now I have 303,000 credits. So we are steadily working our way back up. Again, I do not play this game with any type of glitches or anything. Let's check out Center Mass, see if I can pick up a size 2 scope. I do need one for my parallax. You usually can't buy size 2 things. Those normally usually need to be looted, but check anyway. Personal. That's a size 1. Size 1. Nope. Okay. Let's head back to that here.
Every time we cross there, people call, trying to hide to do shit. It's exhausting.
Whatever you say.
Where is the metro address? The main reason I bring up about the bug fixes is, there are people that spend quite a bit of money in this game. I myself have spent some money. I'm not gonna lie. I do enjoy the game. I do like the ships. I wouldn't say I've gone crazy, but for an individual that just purchased, like, say, the newest ship, the Ironclad, to pay $600 for a new ship and not have it be able to go through, wormholes or experience, disconnects with the command module versus the main frame. It's got to be frustrating, I like that armor. Although I think that's the one he got from the store. Yeah, he's got all the matching backpack and... Come on, man. You can find that stuff.
Nearing next stop.
So when people spend real world money in the game, to get back to that point, it's frustrating, You want it to work. To be honest, I think this patch bit off a little more than it can chew, especially with having Defense Con, new launch of ships, and then also trying to have, a free fly event. I do want to look at myself in there we go. So that means now I gotta find something that's gonna go well with that in the gray color scheme.
The Empire's leader in cutting-edge technology, where creative innovation meets
We'll eventually find stuff and swap it out. Piece by piece. Hey, come on, go to the terminal. See, that was 2 button presses. Will it work on the third? Still doesn't work on the third. Are we going to go for a fourth? There we go. Things like that. You just got to clean up the code on the server communication.
Welcome to the ASOP vehicle retrieval system. Your vehicle has been moved to please visit us again.
Put that down. We'll pull up the Hermes. Do a quick cargo mission.
Vehicle select. Your vehicle has been delivered. Please visit us again. Goodbye.
Excuse me, sorry about that. See, that's another thing right there, having to readjust your pips. You know, if I haven't touched them or I haven't changed them, you know, every time I get into the ship, I don't. They just shouldn't be randomly, you know, randomly changed. Okay. Let's bring up a mission here. What am I looking at? Okay, I got plenty of quantum fuel and hydrogen. Right. Tracks. And we'll move to planetary hull. Direct medium. Quartz goes to Port Tressler, and Corundum will go to Port Tressler. Okay, so it's all going to the same spot. Yeah, we'll take that one. So we're taking it to Port Tressler, but we're collecting it from. See, here's another thing that I noticed. We got no radar again. But yet we have pips in our radar. See, now when I hit 2, it brought up that. Like, why is that doing that? Like, 5, 4 should be my med pen, 3 should be my gun, and 2 should be that, and then 1 should be... It's like every time you go to cycle it, it resets itself until the, I don't know if it would be the BIOS, just talks to, you know, what your settings are and what, you know, what you saved and, you know, what you put on your hotkeys. Could have parked a little bit closer. Made this a little more efficient, but whatever. It's all going to the same place anyway. So I'll go over to Port Trustler. Just, you know, as far as playing this game, I was completely enamored with it the first time I played it. You know, if you're looking for a game that, you know, suits a ton of different play styles, you know, a ton of different things to do. Come on, get out of there. Get out of there. You know you want to. Thank you. I've just always been really looking for a game with a, you know, a shared world. You know, that, nope. Nope, we didn't want it like that. So what is it? R? And then rotate. There we go. Against the wall. Would have been nice if they gave me some 32 SCU containers instead of these slightly smaller ones. I could have moved more material that much faster. I mean, especially since now there's insurance loadouts on ships and things like that, they've got to maintain the stability of, you know, nesting things inside of things that are attached to things that are upgraded, you know, because, you know, they did send out a hot patch, but a lot of componentry was just getting bricked, you know, right off the bat. You know, you'd insure your loadout, and then I had an instance where I probably spent about 80,000 credits, you know, just trying to, you know, retrieve insured loadouts, and then it, you know, then it comes up and it's bricked, and then, you know, you got to scrap it, and then it's, you know, or something like paints. When people buy paints in the in-game store, you know, and you're buying that for real world money, that should not be an insurable item. That should just permanently be on whatever ship you call if you have it equipped. That way, you can't call out 2 different ships and accidentally brick some by, having a ship with a certain loadout and then calling out an uninsured loadout ship, and then you got to remelt the paint, and then that way you have to store credit and then go back into the store to come on now. Then you have to go back into the store and reauthorize the paint. I mean, like I said, it's a workaround, but it doesn't need to be like that. There are easier ways to program. And just to exclude paints from that. That way you don't have that difficulty. That way it doesn't matter what ship you call of that ship, it's going to have that paint on it. It's locked and loaded. Like this paint right here is the disco paint. It is not the standard paint. So, if I don't take the proper version of the ship, then I have to go through the whole loop of, okay, now I got to back out of the game, go into the launcher, go to my account, go to my hangar, and what they call entitlements, which are ships and armor and things that you buy in certain colorways, or like that person that we saw on the tram, that was actually an in-game purchased item that he purchased, which is fine. If he thinks that's cool and it looks cool, but things like that are called entitlements. So if you buy a certain weapon pack, just because you don't really know or want to go farm it yourself and find it, do the exploration, then we'll just make sure that this elevator is clear. Yes, we are. All right, let's go take this to Port Tressler. So new garbage is on the other side, or port thrusters on the other side of the planet. So we'll just hit this orbital marker right here. And that should give us some, hopefully, if not, we'll just jump to another one. Yep, there we go.
Drive is now on. Auto drive is now off. Shields are on.
Alright, let's get this offloaded. I enjoy these game loops. A little bit of mining, a little bit of exploration, a little bit of cargo hauling, very low key. The ship does have a tractor beam on it, in the center, but I don't know. I just kind of find it easier. I'm so used to, using the actual mining attachment, the orbit. Floaty, we got a floaty. Come on, snap on that grid. There we go. I find the stability is much higher on this tractor beam with being the handheld. The one in the ship is kind of, I don't know how to explain it, or spaghetti-ish. Like it whips around too much. Like there's lag on, not in-game lag or anything like that, but your movement left and right on it. And it gets kind of whippy, like you're always constantly overcompensating on the direction that you want the cargo to move. Go, 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 go. Everybody, right? Nope, you did it again. Okay, whatever. We'll put you there. No need to be obsessive compulsive about it. It's just going down the down the freight elevator. go. 76,000. So where we at now? Almost 400 drop. 381. That was a good haul. That was a good haul. Right. So we should be within the boundaries to just put the ship down, I believe. You know what? We'll straighten around a little bit. Oh, I do want to see. Okay, they did give us some fuses and Cambrio SRT for repair. So if not, I'm just going to transfer some over, but most ships do come with that. You're not, left in the,
Engines are on.
Alright, let's send the ship down, store it, and hang out here till next time we log on.
Welcome to the ASOP Vehicle Retrieval System. Your vehicle has been moved to our base visitors again. Goodbye.
And we are stored. Alright, let's log out of the game. And we'll go back into the launcher. I want to see, what's new in the shop. What they're doing. Ships. Standalone, right? So these would be your starter ships. So like $60. Obviously there's much higher ships that you can purchase, but you don't need them to run the game. As long as you have a starter pack ship. Actually, let me go to the starter pack ships. Upgrades. Wedge store. Standalone. No. more ships. Okay, so you would see that these are available for purchase. They do have ships that are only usually limited time. But when you do purchase a ship, make sure it does have, the game rights to it. It will say starter ship, includes game pack, things like that. Like if we go to this A1 Spirit, it says flight ready right here. $200 for that ship. This pledge includes 10-year insurance, Spirit, and the hangar. So it does not include the actual game package. Oh, I don't know if I've ever seen that ship matrix. So they give the actual specs on it. Normally I would go to like Star Citizen Wiki and look out and see, how many SCU have cargo it does. And, you can, you know, separate the ships based on what their function is. So Anvil, also manufacturer only. See, like here's the Asgard, a combat dropship. This ship is, one of the first ships that you should get after play the game, because you can buy it for in-game credits. I believe it's 17 million. Or if you want to pay for convenience and buy the ship, then it's $350. It does take you quite a while to amass that amount of money. So it's up to you. Once again, I don't look down on anybody buying anything or doing anything they want in the game. If somebody wants to spend whatever they want to spend on their hobby or their interest or things like that, it's not for anybody else to judge. It's just like, if you want it, you want it. Like whatever. Some people might call me stupid because I bought vehicles that I really wanted. I wouldn't pay that amount of money for a car. Well, that's your prerogative, and you're totally entitled to that. I'm also entitled to mine. Yeah, this ship has, I believe it's 188. It's 180. So it's got a fairly large cargo size, and it is one of the only ships that will let one of the tanks on the back, because the rear cargo loading area is wider than, like, say, on the Hermes that I was just on. So being a dropship, it does allow for heavy armaments to be deployed to the field along with soldiers. It's got two doors on the side that open, so all your buddies can jump out. Start the fuckery. Start blowing shit up. Do whatever you want to do. Yeah, that ship is not. That's nice. It's probably. Oh, there you go. It even shows it right there. A very valuable ship, and it's very competent too in its combat skills. To take it if you want to do PVE in air combat, you can get through a lot of your bounty hunting missions and things like that. Start moving up the line to get ace targets, because the targets that they give you in flight combat will increase in difficulty and competency, and so that this ship will definitely allow you to take on a lot of that content until it eventually just gets outclassed by either the size of ship that you're going to be taken down, or the number of ships that are going to be in the contract. Dealing with 5 light fighters it's pretty stressful, but it's fun. So, and then, like I was saying before, people that can buy gear, you can buy anything that you want the way you look. I believe it was the one that guy had. Just 3. Yeah, there it was right there. So the red alert pack, $14. And then you're always guaranteed, when even if there is a wipe in the game and a reset, you're guaranteed to have this armor in your hangar, on your starting planet, and then you just equip it. And as you can see, it has all the accompanying weapons. I tend not to go this route just because it's recognizable. It's like, oh, okay, you know, I have a thing where, you know, the in-game stuff, that the earnables to me hold more weight. You know, if I see somebody putting together a, you know, a cool gear set that, you know, you just can't purchase in game, that's always like, okay, cool. I see what you're doing there. Right on, brother. So, all right, guys. I just want to say thanks again for watching the video, hanging out with me. Nice relaxing Sunday. So if you enjoyed the content, give me a like. Maybe think about subscribing. And if you're thinking about joining the game, like I said, all the links are in the description for you know, a great org to join, our Discord, and also my content creator code to get yourself some extra in-game cash. I will see everybody in the next one. Bye, everybody.